Okay, Brambro back with some aircraft carrier survival in the sandbox mode. And, sorry to say, I'm basically having to start over with a new save, with a new game. I had reached a point with the previous game where I could no longer save at sea. And that was a persistent bug. Every available save game which I had occurred after that bug had been introduced and had the same problem. And I could only save the game Import Pearl Harbor right here, not on the strategic map and not during a mission. And the missions last pretty long, and typically you try to do more than one at least while you are out at sea. And so that was simply untenable. And I'd been getting kind of close to upgrading the carrier to the Yorktown class, so I was kind of a little disappointed with that state of affairs. And in one sense, it was kind of a game breaking. It was a game breaking bug. However, it was game breaking partially, at least, because I let it become so by not saving often enough and by not keeping enough older saves. So it was at least 50% kind of self inflicted. Hey, it's a new game. New games have bugs. It's kind of a standard thing in computer gaming that, save early, save often, and I did not do that well enough. So I'm still vastly irritated at the bug that put my game in that state, but I could have done better in not, minimizing the impact of it. I'll say it that way. Not letting the devs off the hook. Whatever caused that needs to be hunted down and corrected, and I hope that is a known bug. I've seen other people talk about similar experiences in the Steam discussion, so I hope that gets hot fixed out at some point relatively soon. In the meantime, though, I'm going to try to make a conscious effort to save a lot more and keep more saves in my queue. Enough of that. So here we are, back with a completely vanilla Lexington escort group and Air Wing. Okay, so I've got 8 upgrade points available. And we know that there are things that we can do that will eventually get us to a Yorktown, and other things that we could do with these points that will not. For the time being, I'm not going to spend upgrade points on escorts, for example. There's some really nice escorts all the way through here, and some of them are only 2 points. As well as increasing the number of escorts we can have. And that's not going to get us closer to a Yorktown. And, oh, by the way, I can spend an upgrade point for a new type of escort available, but then I have to actually buy the thing, and escort ships are expensive. So, okay. I think what I'm going to do is, we know we eventually have to do all of these things. So we, radar range AA and hangar, but we also need crew slots and officer slots. So I am going to get those out of the way first. 2 points will actually max out our officer slots, so we're going to do that. And I'll spend the 2 points for one more crew slot. I'm not going to max it out now. I could, but I'm not going to. Right? Which means that we can now buy an extra crew member for 1 command point. And don't forget, just because they go down here just means they're available. It doesn't mean they're on the carrier. Don't forget to drag them up into the slot. I see that missed on YouTube videos all the time. Okay, and then we need, all right. So we have one point air officer and one point sea officer. it and these numbers are kind of backwards, by the way. It just kind of naturally looks like the upper number that's behind the brown would be air, and the lower number with the blue background would be C. It's actually backwards. The low blue is the air, and the upper is the C. And I forget exactly where I picked that up. But in any case, that is the way it works. So we need another officer. Frankly, I don't really find that the officers are all that big a deal in terms of their abilities. I mostly just have them manning the island rooms where I tend to use more switches. And then, they're valuable mainly for the cards that they make available for the airstrikes. So let's see here. This fella has got Leap of Faith. This guy's got Barrel Roll. And this guy's got Wingman. And the guys I actually have now, Combat Box. That's a pretty good one. And Precision Bombing. That is a good one. I probably actually use Precision Bombing more than I use the Combat Box. This is a support card, and by far my favorite support card that I think I already have available in the default package is Lone Wolf. That's a support card as well. So these two cards for this fella and this fella require using certain other types of aircraft, whereas this card basically just depends on what slot you put it in. It works in 2, 3, or 4 pretty good for any type of aircraft. I think this looks more flexible, and that is a pretty big defense buff. I think this is a really nice card for those initial strikes where you need a lot, where defense is almost more important than the attack. A lot of times on that first attack, you're trying to get that one ship type in the enemy force that is causing all kinds of problems for you. And you're really trying to limit the number of planes you lose, because I'm going with this guy is all I'm trying to say. All right, get in there. Nail, Frederick Nail. Okay, so I got him, which brings up now Whiteside is available. Is he good enough to spend the money to replace one of the others? Attack of all other torpedo bombers is +4. And it carries a pretty good attack bonus on its own. However, only applies to specific aircraft and is a 2-squadron card. So to get an effect from this, I'm already limiting myself to 3 squadrons of torpedo bombers. In a strike. And how does that compare to, say, this guy's card? Eh. I do want to keep one sea officer, even if he's only a 1. Yeah, I'm not going to fiddle further with it. This is what I've done for now. Okay. In the crew and officer slot for aircraft, I'm not going to spend any upgrade points here. However, I will come back to this because I'm going to buy more aircraft after I spend 2 points on hangar capacity. Wait a minute, let me think about this. I can do 2 of the 3 because I have 4 points remaining. I eventually have to fill all these slots anyway. But for now, I think having that extra AA slot, because that'll up the defense a little bit against air attacks. And do I want hangar capacity? I think I'm going to go with the 24 Squadron Air Wing for now. I find that the radar range is pretty useful, especially for a lot of the earlier missions one tends to do, like detect and ID. Okay, that's it for upgrade slots. And I don't think we have a place to burn more command points. There's no point in buying more crew. There's no point to buying more aircraft at the moment. And there's no point to buying more escorts. We actually have 6 escorts. There's 3 actually in the fleet at the moment. When we come back into port, these will need some time for repair, and they're going to go down in this bar here. And these are our reserves to go out in the next mission. And they're the 3 the same type. We don't have a mix, really. Now, what I could do is I could like take the Chicopee down, and we could go with 2 submarines, which actually further extends radar range. Their plus detection range do stack. And we would have available 2 separate supply ship attacks. That would actually not be a terrible configuration. Could go with 2 Saipans. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Go with 2 Saipans and have that much more cap available. And that much more both carrier and escort defense. But if I do this, then I won't have any at all. No Saipans for the next line mission. Or next line period. Meaning the next time I go out of Pearl. Because these will both be in routine maintenance and R&R. So I won't have any free cap or anything. I think it's best to just go with the mix. Go with our Chicopee, our sub, and our Saipan. And then next time out, we'll be able to do the same thing with this group. Assuming none of these guys get sunk, which can happen. I think we are ready to head out into the deep. Let's see what we got. I think I only need the 2 upgrade points so I can fill in that first level air capacity slot. And when you get these, there's 2 objectives here. In these hybrid operations, that is 2 completely separate main missions. You don't have to do all this on one map simultaneously. There is a time crunch, though. You have to get to each one of these by a certain date. So whichever one is earlier, You got to make sure you get that one done in time. Otherwise, the second one may have expired by then. So there's a little bit of risk involved there. And you kind of have to bank on whatever happens during the first mission. You know, you lose X number of squadrons, you get an escort sunk, whatever. You got to bank that something doesn't occur during the first mission that severely compromises your ability to even do the second one. And you got to get both of those done in order to get these rewards. So I'm kind of playing it a little bit safer. I'm just looking for the little... There we go. That kind of looks more like it. Vague but concerning reports of enemy activity. Need to send scouts, find out what's going on. Avoid detection at all costs. So that sounds like this is going to be a kind of a typical search and identify type mission where we're trying to avoid combat. But this is a pretty good payoff for it. Which kind of leads me to believe that it's going to be hard to... It'll be like 5 fleets. And it's going to be hard to stay undetected. But, you know, I'm going to go for this one. And, you know, these missions take a while. You can only have so many aircraft up. Even if it's a fairly easy mission, that doesn't mean it's a quick mission. That's it. What is this question mark? I don't know what that means. Okay, so this thing doesn't actually open and come available until the 5th of January. And we are currently still in December. So there is some time there. Does it seem like there's any kind of quickies nearby? This kind of sounds like the same kind of mission that our this kind of sounds like the same kind of mission that our main mission is. We won't get extra upgrade points with this, but we will get the combat medals, which is really nice for fixing up the crew and officers. And can I do this in time? And I have a little NVIDIA overlay on my screen that is not visible in the video, and I can't quite see what the hell that date is. I'm sure there's a way I can disable the overlay. I need to look into that, but right now I don't know. I think we'll have time. I can see that it's December. Right, let's go over here. Okay. Stop to help, lose 10 hours. 70% chance of defensive position unavailable during the next mission. I have to stay undetected for the next mission. Not having defense position is probably acceptable. Because if I get detected, if I get attacked, it means I've been detected. If I've been detected, it means I've failed the darn mission. So that's probably okay. But on the other hand, I don't think losing 10 hours of time is critical here. So alright, let's hop in.
Objective is awaiting.
Okay, first things first. Always look at the tactical map first. Okay. Well, let's get moving. It is 1900 at night. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get some scouty aircraft up.
Issue a fighter squadron on the deck.
Let's go ahead and activate our enhanced radar range.
Time to work.
I guess I should actually tell the carrier to go somewhere. Head over this way.
Issue a fighter squadron on the deck.
Let's go ahead and get this scout mission queued for launch, and then let's go into our island, see what we think about our various switches here, top to bottom.
Ready, sir. On my way.
I think for this mission, having two identified targets makes sense. I'm going to rely on the initial detection primarily on the scouting missions and radar range. So I'm going to go that identify targets for that switch. I think that's fine for now. I would normally have that on repairing fighters. That's fine. Okay, I don't think I need 3 identify target missions.
Awaiting orders.
Yeah, efficiency in air is fine for now. Enable weather, I think, is fine for now. I almost always greatly prefer carrier defense
Awaiting orders.
in this room. There's other ways to get airstrikes and caps. And I think for this mission, boosting efficiency in nav makes the most sense for tactical map updates. Okay. I think I'm happy with that. And then I would have the 4th officer, who is myself, available to flip a switch in another room if I weren't dedicated to doing the enhanced radar. Okay, our scouts are out. Okay, so we've got much better detection range now. It won't be long before we're able to see what this is. And this guy. Okay. Yeah. I've got one extra DC team, so the one guy in DC I think is enough. We have 2 teams that way. That should be more than enough to handle whatever little casualties occur. I don't think we need anybody in any aircraft for now. All else being equal, I kind of like having the air department fully manned pretty much in all scenarios, because the more efficiency you have in air department, the longer aircraft can stay in the Marshall stack waiting for recovery, and that eases your time crunch on managing flight deck evolutions. And really, medical department, I think, only needs to be manned if you've actually got guys in sick bay. And they typically, as far as I've seen, only go into sick bay if DC did not get to them fast enough when they were first injured. For this mission, at least, I don't think that's going to be a huge concern, because we should not be attacked all that much. So with air and nav full, I don't really know. I'm going to go ahead and leave him there only because at the end of the mission, maybe we'll have an opportunity to promote this guy to a medical specialist, which would be good to have in the crew. I think a choice, like for any department, I think the only, you assign a medal to a guy. We should be seeing what this is pretty soon. You assign a medal to a guy and you get 3 choices on what type of buff to give him. One is typically a generalist specialty where he's just kind of a little bit better at everything. One is a loner where he's got a really good ability, but only if he's by himself and you don't have other people in that department. And then the third one is a specific type of buff, a nav buff, a DC buff, etc., that is really good. But I think that particular department-specific buff only shows up and is available if that crew member at some point served, was manning that department at some point during the mission. So I actually kind of, let me go back to that. See if I remember what that guy looks like at the end of the mission. But you know what? I would probably go for... I'd rather go for air or nav or DC probably anyway. We'll go for this for now. Okay, I don't think we're going to launch any more aircraft before nightfall, so there's no reason not to just go into recovery mode now, because eventually we're going to need to recover these scouts. And okay, we got close enough. Basically, we found that there was nothing there. That report was erroneous. With our full nav crew, we can go full speed. So in the morning, we know we're going to need more fighters for scouts, which the 2 that we're going to recover tonight will serve that function. And we will probably need dive bombers for identify missions. So we can go ahead and just bring some dive bombers up onto the deck now, so they'll be ready in the morning. Okay, first fleet found. Okay, so we're going to need to identify this fellow at some point. We don't want to get... Let's turn on all of our recon ranges. We don't need to get any closer to that guy.
Full focus now. Better get to it. On the double.
We may need some counter scouts. If some snoopers show up.
Issue a fighter squadron on the deck.
So let's have 2 fighters for that, and then we'll have the other 2 fighters for scouting. And one thing I forgot to do import, I have 8 of each aircraft type. And what I would have intended to do would have been to plus up the fighters and probably bring down the torpedo bombers. Because fighters kind of tend to be the most in-demand aircraft type among various types of missions. And I kind of messed up there. I would have gone with a 987 or maybe even like a 1086 configuration. I think we'll be alright. Okay, we can't launch aircraft right now. Anywho. We're about to see what's over here. Let's kind of go up this way. Okay, I guess that guy's an enemy. Nope, we got 2 enemies over here. Alright, we need to we definitely need to run east, which is going to get real problematic real fast if this turns out to be an enemy as well, because we got to stay undetected. Just kind of go like this for now. Hopefully these are neutral ships or, you know, whales or some kind of crap like that. If this is an enemy, we're getting kind of boxed in. Hopefully we detect this guy before our scouts are about to come in, and we're going to lose detection range. Hopefully we catch a detect here right at the end. It's not looking like that's going to happen. Nope. Okay, and we can't relaunch them. We just go ahead and recover these guys.
To recover aircraft.
And you can see right there the effect of the scouting mission. I mean, that's a huge factor in detection ranges. Because now, even with the enhanced radar order, our detection range is only slightly larger than the
Your
enemy's.
staff requires urgent medical aid. Have a
Awaiting
DC
orders.
team transport him to the infirmary.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we are pretty high on supply, but we can't do any flight ops anyway. And this is a pretty fair distance here. I'm going to go ahead and replenish. I don't need it right now, but if I don't, I could be caught having to replenish during the day tomorrow when I'm doing flight ops. Which you can do, but right now I feel like I can afford the hour-and-a-half stop, whereas about 16 to 18 hours from now, I don't know. Maybe I won't. So I'm going to go ahead and fuel up.
Same old. Full focus now.
Kind of preemptively. Get back up to 99%. Meanwhile,
We spot
I
the
can
damage.
go ahead and
Prepare
spot
for
everything
launching.
for the morning launch. Okay, what new info do we have? Basically, a lot of these just updated their position. Well, we need to stay close enough to these two fleets because we need to identify them. And we are close enough to dawn that we can prep that now.
On the double.
Right. Okay, so first things first, whenever we're moving again. Okay, let's get our radar back operating.
Better get
Or
to it.
enhanced.
Time to work.
So as soon as we hit 0500, we'll pop out those two ID missions, and then we'll get fighters up for scout again.
There is a fire below deck. Sir, damage control is needed.
Start
Launch.
engine.
Launch. Launch. And then that will leave us two fighters available on the deck for any counter scout missions that may emerge. What's our damage? What is it? A fire? I got a fire guy. He's headed there. All right.
There is a fire below deck.
That's our map.
Sir, damage control is needed.
We're getting awfully
Stand by to
close
start
to.
engine.
That guy changed course and he's moving pretty fast. And I can't. And now my maneuvering is constrained by the recovery.
There is a fire below deck. Sir,
This is
damage control is needed.
Start engines.
It is possible I will not be able to recover those aircraft. Which essentially cost a command point because it costs one command point to buy a squadron of aircraft. Back in port. Am I at a full bill? I am. Well, the other concern is the target even going to be within the... Oh, he may not even be able to detect that, identify that target because the target is going to be outside of the... Oh, goodness gracious. We're not going to get an ID on either one of these targets. they'll be outside the detection area once the planes arrive at their
An
points.
objective has been completed, sir.
Okay, well, there's a third one. These detect and ID missions are usually pretty easy. This one, not so much. Yeah, I don't. That top one might work. Get there. Okay, one worked. I don't know which one I got the... Oh, well... Okay, this is the guy who... I don't know if he's going to get it. I mean, he had to fly right over him to get to this point. He should have caught him there. Oh, well. I'm still inside the recovery areas for both missions. Maybe if I just kind of slide up in this direction and keep inside the boundaries of the circle a little bit longer.
Full focus now.
Yeah, I don't think we got an ID on that second mission. It would have popped by now.
On the double.
So we have 3 detected, one of them identified. It's possible that this stay undetected might be optional. Maybe. We'll see. If we do get detected, we'll see if the mission continues or not. We may just have to put up with the tax instead. It doesn't say optional though. I think it just kills the mission. Jeez, guys, come back. Come back faster. I can't afford to slow down or wait. Either they're going to get recovered or they're not. Meanwhile, I don't see any particular reason not to go and identify. I still have another identify mission, so let's go identify the other one.
Issue a dive bomber squadron on the deck. Launch aircraft.
We are right on the ragged edge of getting these guys or not. I don't feel like I can stop. Not yet. Okay, I'm going to stop. Respot for recovery.
The plane is approaching landing.
Even with no combat, I'm kind of sweating the load here. Okay. New enemy. Okay. So there is more than 3 enemy fleets. We just need to ID 3 of them. So it might turn out that rather than going back and trying again with this guy, it might make more sense to identify Shirobake instead. Recover.
Stand by to recover aircraft.
Yeah, I know I'm not moving. I'm keeping it 1x just because I don't want to lose a second. Oh my goodness, a freaking plane crashed on there. Which means I need one of these guys on malfunction. Go. Boy, he's taking his sweet time getting up there. Run faster. It's probably because of my DC department efficiency. And I can't give the order, I can't queue the recovery for the second ID mission until that plane is cleared. Cover.
Stand by to recover aircraft.
Full bell. This way. That guy's ID. That guy's ID. One more ID mission before. Okay. What do we have on deck? Alright, respot for launch. And we have an identified mission available again.
Clear the flight deck and prepare for takeoff.
So that's met. One more ID and we're good. So we're, oops, didn't mean to do that. Go.
Stand by to start engine.
So we're having to repair a squadron of aircraft after that deck crash. So I'm kind of feeling like getting a little bit more going on in engineering makes... Well, I don't think that helped. Eh.
Time to work.
Okay, we've got over 4 hours to recover our scouts. That's not a pressing issue at the moment.
Better get to it. Full
Keep the
focus
radar going. I don't think we're going to be... Yeah, we need to recover these guys. So, respot for recovery.
Respot the deck. Prepare for recovery.
It's fine.
Stand
Cover.
by to recover aircraft.
An objective has been
Cover.
completed, sir.
Okay, that should do it. Yeah, there we go. Got ourselves a couple of medals, some command points, a little renown for the Admiral, which is me. Okay. Okay, so this is medical guy here. I'm gonna go ahead and get him out of the way. There you go. Except no. So I was wrong about that. These aren't determined by where they worked during the mission. So, yeah, air or DC, both are great. I know I always want a DC. We'll have a DC guy. And let's see what we get for this fella. Okay, I don't need another DC guy. I like having a navigation guy. That's fine. I mean, it makes sense to always have one navigation guy because you always have to have at least one guy in that department regardless, just for the ship to move at all, no matter what else is going on. And I'm using the early medals just so I can kind of get my crew configured sort of the way I want them, and then I'll work on the officers. So.
on the double.
Okay. And it is still in December, and we still have until the 5th of January to get up to the main mission. But I think that will do for this episode, which I know is like extremely similar to an earlier ID Detect mission that I did. But that's the start of the new Sandbox campaign. And, for goodness sake, save. And don't delete these. Who knows when a bug might crop up. There we go. Anyway, if you like the aircraft carrier survival content and some of the other games I've got on the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, maybe even a sub. But at any rate, thank you very, very much for watching.